Hey everyone, it's Autumn. Today we are going to do the part 2 video to my perfume collection. So in the first video I did letters A through D in my perfume collection by house, and in this video I'm going to be starting with E, then we'll just kind of see where we end up. I'm looking over there though, and we might make it all the way to O. Maybe not, but I was able to cover my first shelf, and I'm looking over here, and the second shelf I have is E through O. So anywho, we're going to go ahead and get started with these. And the first ones I want to show you are the Elizabeth and James fragrances. So I have all 6 of them. These fragrances that are in this line, like the Elizabeth and James Nirvana fragrances, have been discontinued. And I know that Mary-Kate and Ashley have now come out with a new scent. And I believe they're pretty expensive, so I don't foresee myself purchasing them, especially when these are so good. And right now, since they've been discontinued, they are extremely affordable online. I will try to have them all linked for you if you were curious about them. And if you didn't watch the first video, you know I'm going to give like short, brief descriptions like as it hits me, but these aren't full-on reviews. If you want full-on reviews on anything that I have in my collection, go ahead and let me know, and I will plan videos around them. That's partly why I'm doing this video, is to kind of show myself kind of where I'm at, what I have, show you everything I have so that I can possibly do reviews on it. And then throughout the year, I do plan on decluttering my fragrances. Right now I have them arranged alphabetically, and after this I plan on arranging them by scent, like scent profile, like the dominant scent. So like say I have a bunch of beachy scents, I might choose like a couple of my favorites and then go ahead and get rid of the rest to where I'm really narrowing down my collection. But anyway, starting off with the first one that I picked up here, this is the original, well, one of the originals. There were a black and a white, and these were the two that they first started off with, and they said that you could wear them individually or you could mix them together for a more complex scent. I'm not much of a mixer, but I do think that these pair really well together. If you watched the first video, I mentioned the Clinique Aromatics White. I actually find that the Nirvana White is very similar to that one. And then Nirvana Black here is kind of like a deeper, more like boozy scent. It's like really creamy, not quite powdery though. And it's really deep. They say that each of these scents have like 3 sorts of like main notes in them. And they say this one is sandalwood, violet, and vanilla. But I find this to be actually, which I get that, but I also find this to be kind of like deep, rich, and boozy. Whereas in, you would think sandalwood, violet, and vanilla aren't those things. So absolutely gorgeous scent. The next one is French Gray. This is sort of a, I would say almost a masculine floral. I think it's lavender in here, and it does lean a little bit masculine, but it's feminine at the same time. This is one that I love to wear with like a crisp white t-shirt, or if I'm wearing like a blazer or suit. I think this would pair really well for like a power suit in the office kind of situation. It's a really lovely scent. The next one is Amethyst, and I believe this one is more of like their tobacco-y scent. Yeah, and again, really deep, really rich, really beautiful. This is probably the least talked about though. I never hear anybody talk about this one in particular, but it's really lovely. This right here is Nirvana Rose. It's a beautiful woody rose scent. And it reminds me of Le Labo's Rose 31. So if you were looking at that one, but you wanted maybe a more affordable option, this would be a really good affordable option for that. And then this last one is Bourbon. It's the Nirvana Bourbon, and that's kind of self-explanatory. It's kind of like that sort of woody bourbon barrel boozy kind of scent here. Okay, so I have 4 Estee Lauder scents, and the first one I want to show you is a newer scent that they recently came out with, like a newer line, and I haven't really heard anybody talk about this line, and I was really curious about them, so I bought a sampler set. And they're like this size of the bottle. I wanted to show you the sampler set. So I do have actually every scent in this line, but like in this size. but I told you guys in the first video that I'm not going to be showing like the little samples. But if you guys are curious about this line of fragrances, I can do a video on all of them, but I do have the full size and this one in Tender Light. And this is kind of like it's got like tea in it, bergamot and iris, I believe are the three main notes. And it's just a beautiful, soft, creamy tea scent. And then I have this one called Bronze Goddess. You can see I've used a lot of it. This is a very popular sort of beachy summer scent. I think this, in recent times, is probably one of Estee Lauder's more popular fragrances, at least now. And then I do have two older fragrances. This first one is Estee Lauder, and I believe it's called Private Collection. So the whole idea behind this, I believe that this is the fragrance that was made, I believe, for Estee Lauder herself. And then a celebrity at a party kept asking her like what she was wearing, and then she did end up bottling it and selling it, and that's what this is. It's the Private Collection. And this is a gorgeous green scent. That's that one. And then this one's really interesting. This is Youth Dew. This fragrance has been around for probably, I think, since the 50s. And it's gorgeous. It reminds me of kind of Coca-Cola. It's like a musky Coca-Cola kind of scent. It's really beautiful. This is also one of those comforting scents that I like to wear to bed. And then I have a few more E fragrances before we get into a couple of F fragrances. So this is Escentric Molecules 01. I think this is my second or third bottle of this. I used to wear a lot more than I do now. And it essentially is just ISOE Super, I believe is what it's called. That's all it is, and it smells a little bit different on everybody. And this is just one of those things that if I don't know what to wear, I spray this on. I can also mix it with things if I want things to smell a little less sweet. I'll go ahead and mix it, and I feel like it kind of just brings it around. It almost smells like woody or cedary, at least on me. And then I have this from Elie Tahari or Elie Tahari. It only has one L, so I guess it's Elie. This is a gorgeous kind of like citrusy, like a creamy citrusy summer scent. I never hear anybody talk about this one, but it's a great one. If you see this at TJ Maxx or Marshall's, I highly suggest picking it up. I have seen it there, but I actually got this through like one of those Allure boxes where you can like test fragrances. And then this is from Elie Saab, and this is Girl of Now. And this is a gourmand sort of caramely scented fragrance. So now we're into F, and this is from Floral Street, and this is called Wonderland Peony. This is a really beautiful, I would call it like a sweet, bright floral scent. It's really pretty. It's one of those, again, though, that kind of reminds me, it comes around to smell a little bit like shampoo, but like in a good way. So I think that this is very wearable and very pleasing. Again, I do have a sampler of the Floral Street fragrances, so if you are curious about those, I can do a video on those as well. And then this I recently featured in my winter floral fragrance that I did. Oh, I didn't do the but I did a video on winter florals. And this is what I featured. This is Rihanna's Fenty, and this is really interesting because it has tangerine and blueberry in it, and it also has rose. And it's just a really interesting sort of like juicy but like deep scent. All right, so now we are into G's, and the first one I want to talk about is Giorgio Armani. This is My Way, and I believe that this is the Intense version, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, this is the Eau de Parfum Intense. This is a really beautiful tuberose scent. Normally I'm not like a huge tuberose person, or maybe I am and I just didn't find the right one yet, but I really actually love this scent. And then another favorite of mine from Giorgio Armani is Acqua di Gioia. I have two bottles here because this is what I used to always wear in my army uniform. So this one I just kept in my army travel bag. And recently I've like switched over to smaller perfumes for more variety when I travel. I do need to just go ahead and finish this one up though, because it's weird to have like just this much left and then a bottle that's like partially used here. But I have gone through a couple of bottles of this as well. I just find it to be a beautiful sort of universally, like, this doesn't bother anybody. It's citrus and it has brown sugar in it, which I think is what makes it a little bit on the sweet side and not like too aquatic. So it's like a really pretty likable scent. Whereas then I also have this one, which is Air de Gioia. And I go back and forth. It depends on when I smell it. But sometimes it smells like light and airy and fresh. And sometimes it's a little bit what my friend Amy would call screechy. It smells a little bit kind of like fabric softener, which is great if you like those kinds of scents that smell like fresh laundry. But I wash my laundry and so I don't necessarily need to smell like fresh laundry. And half the time I wash my laundry with like unscented stuff just so I can wear my perfumes and it doesn't clash. I have one from Glossier and this is You. There's something lipsticky about this and it must have orris in it because I feel like that's what I'm getting. And to me, this is like, I don't want to say like a very 90s fragrance, but it's like musky with a lipsticky smell. And it smells like the bottom of a purse. I don't know what all the hype about this fragrance is. I have two from Gucci. I have Gucci Memoire and I also have Gucci Bloom. Gucci Bloom is like a beautiful spring floral, and then Gucci Memoire is really interesting. It smells like dry rocks, kind of. Like herbally dry rocks. It's a really interesting scent. It does warm up on the skin, and this actually smells the best on me if I wear it on my skin and then I'm going out in the sun, and then all of a sudden it's like develops and smells so much better. And I don't know what it is, but this just smells like 10 times better in the summer if I wear it and then I go into the sun. And then I do have some from Guerlain. I used to have a lot more and I ended up getting rid of them. But this first one is Mitsouko, and this is a classic scent, which I believe was like worn by like Charlie Chaplin, among like tons of other celebrities back in the day. This can be worn by a man or a woman. It does lend a little bit more powdery than I like, but it's like a sort of like spicy chypre scent. So I really do like this one. Watch, it'll probably not even be a chypre, but to me it smells like one. And then I also have this, it's the Terracotta Le Parfum. And this to me smells like rich lady on a yacht. It's like got that lush summer floral scent. And then like the creaminess of like the sunscreen. It just smells like expensive sunscreen. And then I have 4 of these Acqua Allegoria scents. I really like them because they have like the little beehive on the top and then the little bee on the cap. I think they're beautiful. But I have Bergamot, Calabria. I have this one, which is Teazzura, which obviously it's like a creamy tea scent. It's like a vanilla tea, like a creamy vanilla tea. And then I have this one, which is Rosa, which is a light sort of fresh springy rose scent. And then the last one I have is Nerolia Bianca. They have tons of these and they're so beautiful. The collector in me just kind of wants them all, but I need to be honest with myself. This one I think is my favorite, the Nerolia. I just love neroli though. Like I went on a huge neroli kick a couple years ago and like bought everything that I could find with neroli in it. But I need to be honest with myself and know that I'm not going to wear these a whole lot, especially the wear time isn't very long. To me, these are like a glorified body spray. And I think once I kind of maybe reposition all of my fragrances, I either will put them into scent categories or I might make like more body spray, like light body spray type fragrances and put those all together. Oh, and I did have one last G scent. It was hiding in the back. This is Givenchy. I think it just means like angel and demon. I don't know. But this is the Le Secret. And I believe this has tea in it also. I could be wrong on that. But it's like a light citrusy sort of tea scent. Let me double check that because I feel like that's true, but I could totally be lying. Yes, tea, cranberry, lemon, peony, jasmine, water lily, woodsy notes, and patchouli. So I was correct. And yeah, It's a citrusy tea sort of scent. Again, another perfect one for the summer. And I've actually used quite a bit of it. This is one of the older perfumes though that I have in my collection. All right, and now we're into H, which is mostly just taken up by Hermes scents. I have two of these that are kind of like in these kinds of bottles. And again, these are like the lighter scents that I would say are almost Hermes's version of the Givenchy ones here. Not Givenchy, Guerlain. They're lighter eau de toilettes bordering on body spray. They last longer than a body spray, but they're just very light scents. The first one I have here is Un Jardin sur la Lagune. I mean, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. And then this one is Un Jardin sur les Toits. And then I have Twilly. And then my favorites are these Eau de Marveille or Eau de Marveille. Again, I don't know. It's a pity that I love perfume and that most perfumes, the pronunciations are in French. But anywho, this one is, I believe, the Eau de Toilette version of it. So it's a little bit lighter version. And then I have the full versions or like the elixir sorts of versions here. This is a beautiful sort of ambery orange scent. Absolutely dreamy. One of my, I would say that fragrance, if not my top 10, definitely my top 20 fragrances. Absolutely love it. And then there's also the L'Ombre de Marveille, this one. And maybe I'm just going nuts. Does this have tea in it too? Yes, this is like a tea kind of version of the original fragrance. And it says the main notes are black tea, incense, and tonka bean. Again though, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous scent. And then the last H fragrance I have is Heretic Dirty Vanilla. This is like vanilla and patchouli, essentially. And I just noticed here to the side on my cart that I had stuck a couple more Giorgio Armani's that I completely forgot to mention. And these are the C perfumes. So I have the Eau de Parfum Intense, which they have redone this, and now it's in a bottle like this with just a darker liquid. It no longer looks like this, and I think that they have reformulated it as well. So this is the old formula. And then I have the Passione, which is, I would say, more shampoo-y. Let me find a place to spray. I think it's a little fruitier. It's like fruity with some depth. A little kind of shampoo-ier, maybe more youthful. I think this might be something that maybe a younger gal might like. And here's the thing is, when I say fragrances, an older person versus a younger person like, I'm not saying that like you're old if you like something, but I have found as I've aged and my nose has developed, I like different scents. And I think as you are getting used to perfumes and your nose is developing, as you smell things, those sorts of old lady fragrances, the nuance in them actually do start to smell better to you as you develop your nose and you're able to pick out different notes. So the reason I'm saying that a younger person would really like this is just because it's pleasant and it doesn't have a lot of those deeper, complex notes that older noses tend to like. So that's where I'm going with the whole old lady thing. All right, and then I also have the original. This used to be one of my favorites before I got a ton of perfumes. I still really love this fragrance, and I have gone through 1 or 2 bottles of this. And I used to always also say that like if you want to get complimented by somebody in like a fast food drive-through, I used to wear this like say going through Taco Bell, and it's like, I don't know if maybe this just smelled like against the difference between the smell of like them smelling taco meat the whole time and then like smelling inside of my car. They would go nuts for this. So if you're trying to pick up somebody who works at Taco Bell, this fragrance is where it's at. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the J's. So I have a couple of Jo Malone's. I don't have a ton. I have Sea Daffodil Cologne. I have English Pear and Freesia. I have Wood Sage and Sea Salt. And I have Earl Grey and Cucumber. And these are all just lovely. Again, though, I would say these three for sure. I feel like Jo Malone could almost go into the body spray category for me as well. As far as like wear and longevity, these don't wear a super long time, which is fine for me. They're perfect for hot weather because I don't want an overwhelming perfume. But yeah, these are definitely not really cold weather scents. I feel like they just get lost in cold weather, but they are lovely fragrances. So yeah, those are my Jo Malones. And then so we will get into K scents because I think Jo Malone are all of my J's. I don't have any other J's, I don't think. So I have a couple of K-Ollies. I have the Vanilla 28 in this little tiny bottle here. And this I think is only, yeah, it's 1/3 of an ounce. So this could go with my travel sprayers, but since it's like in bottle form, I didn't put it with them. And then I have the Vanilla Royale Sugared Patchouli. This is their newest scent that they just came out with. And it is like a very sweet oud fragrance. When I did the review on this fragrance when it first came out, somebody jumped all over me for the way I said oud. And they wanted me to say oud because that's the way we pronounce it here in the States. But honestly, I then went on to like a whole tirade of searching the proper way to say it. And there are at least 30 different pronunciations of a 3-letter word all across the globe. So say it however you want. Off of that though, I do have more K fragrances. I never really hear anybody talk about this, but these are from Kristen S. And I think they don't talk about them because I think they don't make them anymore. And I think they did have other scents as well, but these are the only two. But this is the one signature and the translucent one. So the translucent one, I'm pretty sure is just very similar to Escentric Molecules. I think it's an ISOE Super fragrance. And then the one signature smells exactly like the Kristen S shampoo line. And it's beautiful. So I'm glad they made it into a fragrance. It's a beautiful, light, clean without smelling like clean laundry or like soap kind of fragrance. Then I have this from Kiehl's, which is their original musk. And kind of going back to when I was like talking about like the experience nose, probably about 10 years ago, I purchased this fragrance. And I took it back to Ulta because I thought it stunk so bad. Now I love the way it smells. It's one of those that I like to wear to bed. I did a video a long time ago talking about the fragrances I like to wear to bed, so I will try to remember to have that linked below. But this is one of those that I had in that video. It's so comforting. Absolutely love this, which is hilarious that I took it back because I thought it stunk so bad, and then here I am. I smelled it and I repurchased it because I loved it. This is from Korres, and this is called Black Sugar, and this is a sort of burnt sugar vanilla smell. It smells a little bit musky. What's in it? Is it musk? Tonka bean. Yeah, so it's Oriental lily, caramel, heliotrope, rose, black sugar, Brazilian rosewood, amber, vanilla bean, tonka bean. It's just a super smooth, kind of burnt, sugary, comforting scent. Again, another bedtime one for me. This is Kate Walsh's Boyfriend. So this is supposed to smell like a woman, like a feminine woman with men's cologne on. So it's like a nice mix. Or like say you were to spray your boyfriend's, you know, cologne on. And that's what it's supposed to smell like. It's a beautiful fragrance. I know that they reformulated, and I have the second version, and people are saying that the first version was actually way better. I would love to smell somebody's first version just to kind of compare. But this is a really nice, beautiful scent. And then I have Love by Kilian. This is a beautiful sort of marshmallowy floral scent. Very sweet. Again, one of those that I think younger noses would love. although the lady who does my Brazilian waxes, she was curious about it and I happen to have it in my purse and she was so looking forward to it because it was what like Rihanna wears. She smelled it, she didn't like it. So I just took a quick break to eat some dinner and I'm gonna go ahead and pick up here. I don't know, I put this under L for Lush, but also these could be under G for Gorilla Perfumes. As you can see, one of them says Lush, the other one says Gorilla Perfumes, but it's the perfume house within Lush, like the bath bomb store. And this one is Goddess, which is a gorgeous kind of, I would say it's mostly, the floral I get it, there's rose and jasmine in it. But it's a gorgeous, deep sort of floral scent. And then also vanilla-y, which is almost like a waxy kind of vanilla. It's like the best way for me to describe that. It's like a waxy, dirty vanilla. I have this from Lanvin. I don't know if that's how you say it, but this is a beautiful light springy floral scent. I believe it's lilac is the main note in there. And then I have this one from Lake and Sky. It's called 1111 and it literally smells like hardly anything in the container, but once you spray it on and it warms to the skin, it's a beautiful sort of sweet, light, I hesitate to call it musky, but it's a little bit musky scent. It reminds me a lot of a more subdued version of the clean skin scent that I showed you in the first video. I've actually been using this a lot since I got it. It wasn't too long ago that I picked it up, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And then, is this pronounced Loe? Loe? I don't know. This is Paula's Ibiza. And this is a spicy green scent. I mean, I have nothing like it. I have green scents, but this is a spicy green. Not a lot of fruit in this, if any, at least that I'm smelling right now. I mean, it's a really interesting sort of scent. I was expecting it to be a little bit more beachy. It was kind of a blind buy for me. And it's definitely a tropical sort of lush green scent. And then I have 4 scents from Lancome. The first one is Magi Noir. This is kind of an older scent. And this is one of those that I'm hoping that as I age, my nose will like it more. It just kind of smells like a lot, and I was expecting it to be something magical because people were talking about what a great scent it is. And to me, it's just okay, but it's also one of those, again, that I find it comforting and I do wear it to bed on occasion. This one from Lancome, I think came around in the 90s, and it's called Trésor. And it's a beautiful, I think, is it peach or apricot? Like, now it's gonna bother me. Which stone fruit is it? Both. It's got peach, pineapple, bergamot, apricot, and then it has rose, apricot blossom, lilac, lily of the valley, iris, heliotrope, jasmine, vanilla, sandalwood, amber musk. So it has all of them, but it's a beautiful, like, deep sort of peach or apricot. It's like when it's at its ripest, it's not like a fresh green crispy one. This is like when it's like soft and it's like mush, and it has that sweet scent, but then also it does have the floral in. I like to wear this in the fall, kind of as summer is ending and you start to get like a little bit of cool air. This is one that I like to kind of transition from summer to fall with. And then I have this one, which is La Vie est Belle, which this is just your sort of floral vanilla people pleaser kind of fragrance. I think it might be a little much for the office, but I feel like if you were office lady and you want to wear like one of those please everybody scents in the office, this is what you would wear in the evening out with the gals. And then the last one that I have from Lancome is from their Maison Lancome line, and this is Oud Bouquet. It's a beautiful, deep, sort of resinous, smoky oud scent. It's the best way I have to describe it. This smells like incense in the best way. It's absolutely gorgeous. All right, so now we are into the M's, And I want to start off, and a lot of these are just going to start off with Maison. This is Maison Francis Kirk de Jean's Baccarat Rouge 540. Honestly, it's beautiful. I love it. This is so interesting because it's got like a slight sweetness from what I believe is like fir or pine. It's almost like the sap that kind of gives it the sweetness, but it's not overly fir or pine. You just get a little bit of that. And then you've got amber and you have your saffron. And it almost leans a little bit like orange, but there's no orange or tangerine or anything like that in it. And I think that that kind of sweetness actually comes from the fir tree or whatever. Balsam, is it balsam? I don't know. Either way, I think it's coming from that, but it's so light and it's so airy and it's so beautiful. I noticed that this on my skin though, I wear it for a while and then I stop smelling it, and then there will be a gust of wind and it mixes with the air, and then all of a sudden I smell it again and it's absolutely gorgeous. I do have a video coming up where I compare this to, I think like 12 alternative fragrances or dupes, and kind of spoiler, not many come close. There are a few that I think would be good suggestions if you were looking for a cheaper alternative to this, but for the most part there's just something really smooth and special and light and airy about this that the others just don't get. So I have one Marc Jacobs fragrance. I used to have a few more, and I had like Decadence, and I also had like a blue one that was it called like Rain or something like that. I got rid of those. They were not for me, but I did keep Daisy. And again, this is one of those beautiful everyday office scents if you don't know what to wear. I don't think you're going to offend many people wearing Daisy. One that I think you may offend some people with. This is Mistral South Seas, and I believe this is like either an Urban Outfitters or an Anthropologie brand. And this is like a sort of beachy aquatic type scent, and to me it leans a little bit too aquatic, almost to the point to where sort of dryer sheet screechy, like my friend Amy would say. So this is one that I think after maybe I do a couple of videos talking about it, I will sell it because this perfume has been discontinued and people who love it love it. I just don't think that it's for me. And then I have one from Molten Brown, and I think that they still carry this fragrance, but they've renamed it something else. But this is Fiery Pink Pepper, and it's just a gorgeous kind of pink pepper scent. I did buy like the sort of matching lotions and things like that when they showed up at TJ Maxx, and I kind of stocked up on them, and I'm still trying to get through them. But I just really like the scent. It's a beautiful, like sort of spicy floral scent. All right, and then now we are into the Maison Margiela replica line. And the first one here is Autumn Vibes. This smells like leaves in the fall, like woody kind of crisp leaves in cool fall air. This is a bubble bath. It smells exactly like that. There's a hint of coconut in it too, which I find interesting. This is Coffee Break, which is one of my favorites. It's a beautiful coffee and lavender scent. This is Whispers in the Library. It's a beautiful sort of like light woody scent that is reminiscent of books. This is Under the Lemon Trees. It's not a straight up lemon fragrance. This actually also smells like kind of like sunshine and the breeze coming through the lemon tree. Like if you were to be under a lemon tree and you were to smell like the bark of the tree and also the green leaves and the zest on the lemon, that is what this is. It's like the whole experience replicated in it and not just the lemon portion. This is Beach Walk, and again, a beautiful like sea breezy sort of beachy sort of scent. Let me find a clean place to spray to refresh my memory. It does have neroli. I was thinking to myself, I was like, if I remember correctly, I think it has neroli, but it's like a neroli or coconut in here. It definitely has that kind of beachy vibe. And then the last one's probably the most popular that most people have, and this is By the Fireplace. This is a smoky, woody sort of marshmallow scent. I didn't have any fragrances that started with N, so we're into the O's. And I have two from a company called Way. This is a hair care brand, and they have multiple scents. I got the two first ones that they came out with, but their hair care has specific scents to different lines. The first one is North Bondi, and then the second one is Melrose Place. They're just kind of different sorts of floral scents that they offer with their hair care. If you're somebody who uses their hair care and you like the scent and you don't want to mix your scent a whole lot, these kind of make sense. I do have some videos kind of planned around some of these fragrances that either smell like hair care or are actually made by hair care brands. But this isn't really something that I think you should run out and buy unless you're just absolutely in love with those particular scents and you use their hair care. And then we're into P. So I do have one fragrance from Philosophy, and this is Pure Grace Tropical Summer. And if I remember correctly, I think this might be the one. This is if you were to mix clean laundry with a tropical vacation. It's not my favorite. I think it's this one. It's not really coming across on the paper, but I wore it and there was something a little bit screechy about it. I keep using that term now, but it kind of does have that sort of feeling. Maybe when I do a video closer to warmer weather about beachy scents, I'll feature it. And then also I will be grouping my fragrances together by category like that and kind of like dwindling down. So that's definitely one that I think out of all the beachy fragrances I have, it's not really a must-have for me. And then the other fragrances that I have that start with the letter P are from the brand called Fleur. And I'm sure you're all familiar with this because it went viral. It's called Missing Person. I did a TikTok about it. I actually didn't do a YouTube thing about it, and I don't even really make TikToks. But I felt like since it was going viral on TikTok and everybody was going nuts, I felt compelled to do a TikTok about it, just letting people know that like people are hyping this up for no reason. I even had my friend Amy kind of try it when I first got it, and to me this smells like 90s cigarette mom. Like she's got her hairspray, she's got like her cigarette, her lipstick, like, and it's supposed to remind you of like a missing person or somebody that you're fond of, but I honestly can't think of like any 90s cigarette moms that I'm fond of and I would want to smell like to kind of bring those memories back. So I don't know what happened to Fleur because I used to love them. It's a similar situation that happened with them in Commodity, and I think I'll do a whole video about it because I did buy a recent sampler of their current fragrances they have out, and I think the only one that I don't have in the sampler is the Tangerine Boy one that they just came out with. But when they were just like a little company, I believe in Austin, Texas, making fragrances, I purchased quite a few. And they used to have their whole company set up and they would advertise online to where you could buy a little sampler set, and then once you purchase the sampler set for like, I think it was like $30, then they would, if you decided which one you liked from it, then you could cash in that $30. So it's essentially you buy the sampler set and you're out the $30 unless you buy a fragrance, and if you buy the fragrance then they credit that sampler set amount towards the fragrance. So I really enjoyed them and I thought their fragrances were so good and interesting and different. I don't know what happened to them, but these are the fragrances that I have. I have Moab, which I believe they brought back, and I'm gonna have to possibly compare the old to the new because I'm definitely not impressed with the new fragrance. And I have, is it Hanami? I don't know. I also have Amaline Cat, which was, this one is so interesting to me and I absolutely love this one. And then I have this one, which is Sindara, which I believe is their sandalwood scent, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, these are so good. And I'm so annoyed that this is also the packaging. So these are like heavier, like more interesting packaging, and then now it's this. Like, I don't like this. This looks cheap to me. This looks like Walmart fragrance to me. this was nice. I liked it. And I also liked that it kind of covers the fragrance where light doesn't really get to it. So if you wanted, you could kind of leave it out on your countertop or, you know, your vanity. Are these still made in Austin, Texas? Now it just says made in the USA. Before it said made in Austin, Texas. Or not made there. It said made in USA, but then it said Austin, Texas. And then it had the coordinates here. So I don't know. I'm just a little bit bummed that they switched everything up. At least when Commodity took over, they kept and they built on the originals and kind of kept some cohesiveness. Like they're just kind of all over the place now. I don't get it. So anyway, I hate to end on a sour note, but that is everything for the second shelf. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're looking forward to the next fragrance video where I go through my last shelf, which I guess is like O, well, I didn't have any O's. I don't know, O through Z. Please subscribe, and I will see you guys in that video. All right, bye.